Hello, I'm Priscilla Archangel, and my leadership insight for you today is life interrupting work. For most leaders who are results-oriented, high-powered, fast-paced, life is their work. But what happens when life interrupts their work? Let me give you 3 examples. Several weeks ago, one of my best and oldest friends passed away, and I had the immense privilege of spending the last few days of her life with her. I canceled my role in leading a meeting. I rushed to the airport to catch an earlier flight than I had originally planned to catch so that I could see her. And it was a precious time that I would not trade for anything. But it impacted me more than I realized. Only several weeks later did I realize some of the work-related things that totally slipped my mind while I was busy supporting her family and processing my own grief. Second example. About 8 months ago, I was facilitating a meeting of women business owners, and I casually just stated that I wasn't at an earlier meeting they had and then suddenly I just burst into tears and I was sobbing. Now the good news is that I was in a safe spot where they were very, very supportive, although confused because it really came with no warning. And I was finally able to communicate to them that the memory of missing their earlier meeting triggered the recognition that it was because my husband was having a heart transplant at that time. And for some reason, my emotions just came pouring out uncontrollably. Third example, several years ago, the son of a gentleman who used to work for me passed away at age 20 from a tragic cancer diagnosis. Family, friends, co-workers gathered for several hours to celebrate his life, during which time none of us almost even dared to breathe deeply, lest we break down in tears. Afterward, we were all so emotionally exhausted that one business unit leader canceled his strategy planning meeting, and I had to go to a meeting, but I was absolutely of no value because we were just so emotionally exhausted. And these are just the situations that I remember. As I thought about what happened, I said, life interrupted work. In the midst of deadlines, pressures, politics, policies, production planning, and performance, the personal aspect of life became a priority. I could no longer put on my stoic face and compose myself and focus on the task at hand. And I was reminded again that it's really all about people and relationships. Because without people, the products and the services we provide mean nothing. So as leaders, we have to understand and address our people needs above all else. So let me share my ahas throughout this journey. The first one is the never-ending search for work-life balance. There's always a tipping point where you can literally fall over. There's too much stuff on one side of the scale. And it's important to recognize when you're becoming too off balance and to find a support system to steady yourself. The second one, don't overestimate your ability to manage in times of stress. Just because you can't see what's going on doesn't mean others can't see that you're really not doing well. Number 3, emotional health, like physical and mental health, should be a priority. Even though you may not have a formal or a long-term diagnosis, that doesn't mean it isn't an issue. So find an outlet to release the stress. And number 4, asking for help is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of wisdom. Often people want to help you but just don't know how. So give them a chance to show you that they care. Finding that right work-life balance is different for everyone. Sheryl Sandberg, the COO of Facebook, says that there's work, there's life, but there's no balance. Others say that it's not a balance, it's just a blur. I believe that it's all life, and we simply have to prioritize everything based upon what's happening in the moment. We likely have more control over that than we realize. And when we put our relationships first, we can't go wrong. So thank you for listening.